Hi everyone, it is the 15th of August of 2023 and today I am looking at this magazine here called VideoGames. Yes, VideoGames, the ultimate gaming magazine, issue 62 from March of 1994. This particular one looks like it's got... This particular scan looks like it's been had a sticker on that's been ripped off or something. And I can't make out what was behind it. G4 Roundup new games galore. And I'm guessing Sega Genesis CDX. Anyway. So this was available in the USA, Canada and the UK. How interesting. I don't think we've had one yet that is that was in the US and the UK. Had a few that were the US and Canada. I think there's a lot of crossover there. Got my drink of water. Just one drink this time, not three. Plus, let's have a look what we've got. Sonic CD. Sonic for the Sega CD. Ooh, got tons of reviews. There's Sonic with 3 fingers up, and that's because this is Sonic 3. Spin, bounce and crash. And we have Raiden there. Mortal Kombat 2 strategy guide, and we can see some screenshots here from Sonic 3. So it says here meet Sonic's new pal Knuckles, but in Sonic 3 Knuckles was a rival. It wasn't until the end of Sonic and Knuckles half where Knuckles realises that Dr. Robotnik is up to no good. And plus you can't play as Knuckles in Vanilla Sonic 3. Okay, so first up we have Lemmings on the Game Boy. One of the very first games I got Lemmings, it was on the Amiga. I can't imagine it being too good on the Game Boy. Very limited. Be a lot of screen crunch there. I imagine it being quite awkward. To school, to camp, to the beach. But keep these mentally challenged mammals away from the water. Climb, dig, skydive. Don't keep your lemmings locked up. Take them out once in a while. It's why you got a Game Boy in the first place. And over here we have... whatever this is. Give your buddy the boot. Join Bubble and Squeak on their adventure to rid the enchanted land of Gruel from the evil Cat of Ninetails. Collect gems and coins to buy freedom for Squeak's friend and bubblegum for Squeak. So, hold on. So this is one of the characters. I would have thought this would have been Bubble, because the blowing up bubbles here. And I'm guessing this is the other character. So, yeah, look, there's the cover there. Bubble and Squeak. But I don't know which one's which. See if we can find out. Buy freedom for Squeak's friends and bubblegum for Squeak. It was his bubblegum for Squeak. So I guess that is Squeak then. But that's weird because I would have thought it would have been Bubble that wants the bubble gum. Scan feature allows you to see upcoming dangers and traps. Pick up and place objects to gain access to new levels. Earn valuable coins and gems in the bonus games. Launch Squeak into action to remove enemies from the path. So this is, I guess that's Bubble, and he's shooting Squeak around there. Alright then. Never heard of Bubble and Squeak before. The Empire Strikes Back. Will you accept the challenge of a Jedi Knight? I will not. But have I seen this before? Have I seen this on the AVGN? I think I might have on AVGN. Alternate between sideways scrolling, dizzying mode 7 flight sequences and first person cockpit views. So this magazine isn't, as far as I can tell, affiliated with any particular company. It's just let's have a look at the new games that are out and what's coming out, what's coming up. And this is from 1994. Yeah, March of 1994. So it'll be all what generation was this? Super Nintendo. Is that Gen 4? Yeah, because Gen 5 is PS1, Gen 6 is PS2, Gen 7. Yeah. Yes, this will be Gen 4. So this will be all the Gen 4 systems. And is this the contents? Ooh, I think it is. Inside Video Games. Volume 6, Issue 3. So they come out in different volumes, like it's like a batch of them, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, news, input, Winter CES 94, cutting through the hype. At page 6. Press start. So that's the name of the segment. Press start. News, rumours, reader mail, information. Top 10, 10 to 18. Reader mail, yes, I want to see that. Got some previews of some games, some tips and tricks. Disney's Aladdin. I wonder if that's going to be the Mega Drive or the Super Nintendo version. I'm familiar with the Mega Drive version. We've got some strategy guides, some reviews, and other random cool stuff. So we've got a free Sonic 3 pull-out. It's going to be like a poster. Let's have a look. Well, what is this? At first I thought this was some sort of sports thing. Winter CES 94, cutting through the hype. Frankly, I'm glad that the 1994 Winter Consumer Electronics Show is over. I'm exhausted, my feet don't work, and my voice is shot. Muscles I didn't even know I had are screaming in pain. Let me tell you, my energy is mighty low, but video gaming must go on. So the games. It's hard to pinpoint even a few games that could be called the best. Spectrum, Holobyte, Star Trek, The Next Generation for 3DO looked incredible to me. It might actually sell me on the system. Yeah, right, if the price would just come down to about $400. Oh, Sega's Sonic 3 will be an instant hit, and Super Metroid from Nintendo looks like another winner. So, Sonic 3 had to... right. So I think Sonic 3... It came out... they had to split it up into Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. And... So maybe this was at the point before they were going to split it up because they were aiming for Christmas. So maybe it was still in development at this point and they thought it was just going to be like the one game. And then they split it up down the line in order to get out for Christmas. So as far as this this magazine is concerned, it's still just one game. See, the thing is with that is that I played Sonic and Knuckles first, and even then when I got Sonic 3 and I learned about the lock-on technology, I could tell that Sonic 3 was made with the knowledge of Sonic and Knuckles because there's there's many other examples of this, but in Angel Island Zone Act 2, there are some like rocks that is the path that Knuckles goes through. But if you play Sonic 3 by itself, that path is still there, you just can't go down. So I saw that and I was like, oh right, it's like it was put there intentionally before Sonic and Knuckles. So I even had like an idea at the time. So these are the people who work at this place. Josie Cruiser looks like someone I know. At least based on this image. I don't know what Editor X means. Of course, they've got like special effects going on. Yeah, very 90s. Look at Kathy Rundle. She's happy and raring to go. Mike DeVilla, I wouldn't trust him by the looks of it. And here we have Mortal Kombat, bigger, better, louder, meaner on the Sega CD. Oh, Aero the Acrobat. I am not reading all... I mean, obviously I'm not reading all this. But... You're meant to, well, at least you're meant to be able to read it. I was thinking it's a bit strange how these, like, arrow is jumping around everywhere, but some of these you can't really see. So, this report that Hector, and you can't really see. And then what's with all this wavy text? Look at that. Has employed a team of dirty, nasty, filthy, scheming, no good nicks. This is a game. I played an emulator of it. And it very much reminds me of Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel, which I believe may have come after this. And they both give me a vibe that there's a type of game, a type of platform game of this sort of era that I would call like the very open space platform game, where you can run fast and you can jump high and there's not many things around. So you're sort of running around and they're just... It can be quite burdensome to control. Because you're dealing with so many objects that are far away from each other, but they're still a close relative to your ability to get to them. Oh, press start. News, information, rumors. US Senate calls for video game legislation. Joe Lieberman, we're not talking about Pac-Man or Space Invaders anymore. And here's Bob Chase. Children are unable to cope with the perverse emotional state these games demand. What? What's he referring to there? I mean, at this... Okay, I'm looking at this, I'm seeing names, I'm seeing Night Trap, I'm seeing Mortal Kombat. So yeah, they're the primary targets, I would suspect, from this generation. Bob Keeshan, it is the parent or the guardian who must be the final arbiter of what is appropriate for a child. So, on December 1st, 1993, US Senator Joseph Lieberman, who, does that mean Democrat? Held a press conference at which he proposed legislation that would require the video game industry to better inform consumers about the content of its games. If approved, the new legislation would give video game manufacturers 1 year to determine an industry-wide standard for labelling game cartridges and boxes to inform consumers of violent and/or sexual content. So this is what would eventually... I'm guessing this is eventually what led to the ESRB. And it's still a few years off, the ESRB. It might be a mistake to assume that the interactive nature of video games would magnify the effects of violence that have been established in experiments with non-interactive audiences. Common sense might lead one to conclude that the physical act of manipulating a video game controller makes all the difference in the world. That the sense of direct involvement could lead to a player's eventual inability to distinguish real aggression and the kind of demonstrated by the flashing images on a TV tube. Yeah, Mortal Kombat really did kick this off, I remember. Yeah, and see, look here, Night Trap for the Sega CD, what's all the fuss about? So what does Barbara Tuman have to say? Get the information out there so that parents can be the censors for their children. The most successful Mortal Kombat players are the smart ones. They can think on their feet, stringing combination of moves together to exploit the strengths and weaknesses of specific characters, knowing when to block or duck, identifying patterns of their opponents' moves and knowing exactly how to counter them, unlike a couch potato test subject whose passive mind might soak up violent images like a sponge, never knowing where those aggressive impulses come from. It's possible that video game players are far less likely to be influenced by violent imagery simply because their brains are much more active while they're taking it all in. Alright then, what's over here? Here's his response. Disbelief, I guess. Look, I have crazy ideas myself. Every creative person has weird ideas and occasionally, and I know I have the right to have them, but I also know that I have a responsibility to my audience not to put all those ideas into my work. So when I saw Mortal Kombat, I just could not believe anyone would go that far. It takes a village to raise a child, not just the immediate family, but everyone in the village, and all of us in the society are part of that village, including the software manufacturers in the video game industry. I think, in a sense, because games had like an image of being a children's toy for so long, that when something like Mortal Kombat came around, it was like, this is for kids. And you know, it was the same with South Park, wasn't it? When they were saying like, oh, it's a cartoon, but it's also very rude and all that. It's very explicit. Free video. Sometimes it pays to fill out those warranty cards. Capcom recently sent 100,000 free Aladdin video cassettes to people who filled out the warranty card for any game or controller that Capcom has released in the past couple of years. Give us a sneak look at Aladdin for the Super Nintendo, the SNES, which I think, like in America, they tend to call it the SNES, but I always call it the SNES. And I was once talking to somebody on Skype, and I said SNES, and they were saying like, that's weird, I've never heard anyone say it like that. And I'm like, oh, I thought everyone said it like that. Yeah, weird games. What weird games are there? Rex Ronan Experimental Surgeon is a really weird game. Is it edutainment software featuring Rex and other games aimed at educating adolescents about some serious health risks that people are facing in this postmodern apocalypse we call life? Ah, so there it's about smoking. Look, you do some smoking and bad things happen. And soundboard. Ah, yeah, there were plenty of complaints, weren't not complaints? Well, there were complaints, but there were plenty of rumors around Mortal Kombat as well, weren't they? About like all these like new characters and all that. And I think they did have quite a few like secrets as well. We have some top 10s down there. There we have Luna, the Silver Star, true role playing, CD sound, hot animations. Green Jelly versus Guar. Oh. Green Jelly. Did they do... Is it Three Little Pigs? I think they did. I really didn't like the comments about blood on Mortal Kombat. You said a stupid dumb remark like, well Scott, go ahead and draw a picture of Kano ripping some doofus's heart out. Real mature. You better not say something dumb like, well kid, get with it again. You get with it. It just shows your intelligence level. That's really, really, really low. You also say girls are much better than video games. You ain't at the mature age of girls worshipping, are you? I hope I spelled everything wrong too. What are this? So have I been missing out? Hold on. Have I been missing out some juicy... Oh, I have. Some soundboard. Ah! I better get back to this then. See, I was thinking, like, oh yeah, you're on Mortal Kombat Rumour. But let's see this. We're writing about something you said in your November 93 issue that we don't like. We think it was one of the letters you received. One quote, I believe, is Street Fighter 2 in any mode is of no interest to me. No, I'm sure is it of any other female player. Like... the male of the species seems to get such a thrill out of. Jeez. There's so many. Hold on. Excuse me, did I miss something here? In case you haven't figured it out, we don't take kindly to sexist comments. We are girls, normal girls, and believe us, we love Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Those are some of our favourite video games. Girls like this kind of stuff. This stuff is for boys. Believe it or not, we're sick of hearing those kinds of things every freaking day of our lives. Get real. Tracy and Ashley from California. There's no responses? I thought the editors would respond. Yeah, that is like school, like playground. Like, oh, girls don't like these games. Girls like this. Yeah. The screens are more bloody and more violent than I'd ever imagined. My point is this: is there any chance of ever seeing Mortal Kombat 2 on home game systems such as Sega Genesis or SNES? Boy, I sure hope so, but I'd be afraid that it wouldn't start up all that silly controversy about violence in video games. Give me a break. Like we've never seen a violent movie, even something as simple as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Batman the anime series portray violence. I even saw some blood in the Batman cartoon. Are we going to rate those cartoons too? A simple cartoon that some crew in Hollywood drew with magic markers and pencils? I love the improvements in the magazine. I especially enjoy the Mortal Kombat sections. Keep it up. This whole argument, it comes from a place which, I mean, and I don't mean this particular argument about what this particular person is saying, but this style of argument, I've seen it a few times, where it's kind of like, instead of saying it's not the thing that they're claiming it to be, they're saying, yes, it is, but what about all these other things that are also like this? Should we start acting according to those things as well? And the thing is that the message they're intending is for someone to say, well, that's ridiculous. Oh, this has caused a contradiction in my mind. But you could, I mean, effectively, the thing is to remember is that there will be people out there who would look at TMNT and Batman and say, actually, yes, we should start censoring those things. It's that particular style of argument. Over here. Oh, I've read that bit already. So, all-time complaints. So this is they do this a few times where they start something off and then they like have to continue on like on another page, but it's like there's such a gap between. With all these high-tech systems out, more on the way with 100 plus megabit multi-scrolling mod, 7 scaling, zooming, multimedia, CD, super CD, karaoke. Oh. Pro, blah, 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 blah. There are 3 things I have a problem with. First, I've been playing video games since 1979. Yeah, 10 years ago I had a ColecoVision. The system was a state of the art. Every system came with 2 controllers back in my day. These systems of today have only 1. Why? So you have to go out and buy another controller. Every Coleco game was a 2-player game with adjustable levels. Well, there you go. I mean, if you've answered your own question there, why did they give you 2 controllers? Because because they were all 2 players. Because you had to wait your turn, but you could play with somebody. Okay, so why would you need 2? Okay, so I'll take back what I said then by reading on the next bit. But can't you take turns with somebody by playing one player, like one player plays and then another player plays? And I know you'd be passing back, there'd be like bigger gaps between and all that, but still, the prices 10 years ago were almost the same as today's prices, yet there are very few 2-player games. I can't believe it. You would expect with the money they want for these games to have more 2-player games because some households can only afford one system. Brothers, sisters and neighbours may want to play instead of watch. Today's games are capable of simultaneous 2 or 5-player action. What's with these dumbass controller pads? I don't do control pads. Players from the pre-Nintendo age remember joysticks. Now you have to buy them. What in the blazes am I supposed to do with all these pads? Back in 1994, someone was complaining about the good old days. Green Jelly will be taking over the world with their own production company, VideoGames. Visited Green Jelly's new headquarters on Hollywood Boulevard to see what they're up to. The building is a studio that will house a new daily half-tour TV show that's going to be on MTV this fall. Yeah. So the only thing I know about Green Jelly is I think it's the Three Little Pigs song. And Gwar, they've got a song on Short Music for Short People. But I've heard of them outside of that, but I don't really know anything of their stuff. Don't you have a song about penguins or something? I don't know. I think remember there was a song where it was like there was a penguin was in part the name of the song. I don't know. That just come to me. Does 64-bit really matter? Both Chris and Mike made some good points regarding the influence of technology, but there are some things I'd like to correct. I agree with Chris's statements that the games make the system, but he overlooks the crucial fact that the higher number of bits a computer is, the better the games that can be made for it. I suppose so, yes. Did the NES replace the Atari 2600? The answer is not really. By the time the NES came out, the 2600 was dead and it had been replaced by the 7800. Did anyone throw out their old Nintendo just because it was an 8-bit system? In the middle income district where I live, that is exactly what happened. There were neighbours' rummage sales nearby that had stacks of Nintendo systems, games and equipment. A trip to the local used game stores revealed lots of NESs that had been bought from customers, waiting to be sold. Yeah, out with the old, in with the new. Mark says, keep it clean, do this. In the November view. Alright, well, it's about Star Wars. Let's move on. Been on there for too long. Oh. Video games, you are the best. Your book is cool. I admire your concern for helping people know games better. Some people like GamePro better than your magazine. I like GamePro a little, but I like your book more. Oh, they've got some responses here. There's nothing like a good, satisfying read. Thanks for the compliment, Arthur. What is a giant pocky? The global gaming section is cool. The micro reviews is a good idea. The nicest surprise is the issue of Betty writing a review and rating several other games. This is the only second time I've seen a woman review games. It's about time. Oh, back in those days. I don't go to the arcade for years at a stretch, so it's neat to see pictures like the ones of Super Street Fighter. Do that more often. Well, I babbled enough. My vote is for you to keep computer game reviews in this mag or create a separate one like you did for the duo. Keep up the good work and good luck getting a Venom, Betty. See ya. Giant Pocky is a Japanese cookie, Denny. Check out our new mag Computer Play for all your usual computer multimedia entertainment needs. So that'll be like the PC stuff. So, Zone. What is this? They're recommending other magazines. Boing boing. Now this is a real magazine. They even have ads, and it's still cheaper than the last issue of The Shape of Gaming to Come. We're talking about cybersex. Rather out of the blue there, Artificial Life and Mondo Vanilli. Maybe take a break from playing video games and feed your brain. You can order the Alien Invasion survival cart that conveniently attaches to your keychain. Also, check out an interesting article on Toys R Us. Do so by writing to Boing Boing at that address. What a silly name. Video game review. Nice, easy to read, lots of reviews. Great articles on the Nintendo gateway system and special controllers for the handicapped. I'm noticing that a lot of these are these like covers or whatever, because a lot of them are in black and white. Like, that looks like a cover. I don't know. Anyway, video games. Yes! Start my subscription. You can subscribe. Yes! Put on a whole new face. Read Video Games magazine. Oh, look. If you read Video Games magazine, you can put this Video Games magazine on your face, and that will look like your face. So is that... Hold on. What is going on here? That isn't the actual cover of the magazine, is it? No, because there's a... That's someone's head. And that's like an arm. So that's just they've superimposed that on. Look, you get this t-shirt with someone pressing the D-pad with his finger. And whoa, kick some clay. Yes, start my subscription. And oh, what's this? What's this over here? All timers play games for better health. Ah, so this is saying like, well, we've studied the effects of video games on the brain and the hand-eye coordination. Yeah. Video games were good for old people. This study with a group of people aged 60 to 79 who played video games for 3 hours a week and over an 11-week period, he found that video games helped sharpen the group's mental abilities as well as improve their reaction times. See? Video games are good. GamePro gives bad rating. Oh, it has come to our attention that GamePro magazine has given a bad review to a recent video game release. In their review of the new Jaguar game, Trevor McFerrin and the Crescent Galaxy, GamePro gave a rating of 1.5 in the category of fun factor. This is GamePro's third bad review in the past year, the others being Time Cruise for the duo, Indiana Jones. They were both rated poorly. So that's saying, are they like, so bad as in like low score, not bad as in like unfounded, I guess. Look, X-File. Raiden causes scabs. Pat Duffy does a lofty ramp to ramp 360 kickflip on a new dual skateboard. Raiden causes scabs. Raiden causes scabs. I don't know what that means. Oh, top pinball machines. And from the minds that brought you Clay Fighter, Claymates. Transform yourself into any Claymate character, like Muxter the cat to raise up a tree, Dodo the bird to flap through the air, or Uzi the mouse to turbo scurry out of danger. So it's more like a platform game type thing, I guess. Circle 107 on Reader's Service Card. Well, I'll see that when it comes up. Tips and tricks. Right, I'm gonna have a drink. So here we have some tips. Here's how you can do a stage flex in Sonic 3. Title screen tricks. I didn't know about that. You can change the graphics. Hint hotlines. Time attack tricks. Sonic CD tricks on this page are for hardcore gamers only. So if you're not hardcore, skip this. Put the controller down. It's time for the hardcore gamers. You'll need to... in order to access these hidden features, you'll need to prove your skills in the game's time attack mode, which means that you'll probably have to beat the game into the standard mode, since time attack mode won't allow you to race through a stage that you haven't yet seen during standard gameplay. There's a secret demo mode. I never thought Sonic CD was all that good. I just found it annoying. He just sort of... It's like normal Sonic, apart from you just bounce around a lot and there's just stuff scattered everywhere. I don't really like it very much. Oh, more Sonic. I got some Game Genie codes as well. Secret bonus round. Using the sound test as described above, set all 3 menu items at 07, press start button, a message will appear that says welcome to the secret special stage, introducing you to a special bonus round with a huge Dr. Robotnik looming in the background. Beat the stage and you'll get a condensed credit screen that's different from the credits you'll see when you beat the game. Welcome to secret special stage. Da 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 da. Or in the case of Sonic CD, it's more like dun dun or something like that, isn't it? It's goofy in the US versions. Check out this creepy humanoid Sonic the Human Hedgehog. I can't really make it out. So that's like his hair, I guess. Is that like the back side of his hair, these spikes? I can't make it out. I mean, I know I've seen the image on, it's like, I don't know, like a weird Sonic with a human face or something. I'll have to look it up. But I can't make it out in this image here. Hold on. No, I was wondering if there was an easy way to scroll in and out rather than just using the scroll wheel, but I guess not. So we've got the Lawnmower Man. Stage select, infinite lives, stage skip. So what is the Lawnmower Man? Is it like a horror thing? I can't imagine you like literally just mow lawns. That doesn't sound right. This looks like some sort of Shinobi style special stage. Supernova. Oh, and this is some more adverts. The Galactic War has begun. Oh, this is for the Jaguar. The Jaguar 64-bit game, 64-bit system. You want power? How about 100 times more power than 16-bit systems? Color graphics. You think 16.7 million graphics will hold you? Maybe you're looking for fast, real-world animation. Tell you what, you better have a strong stomach, because this is Jaguar and it ain't no buy. We're talking 64 bits of power and 3D animation as in 3 dimensions. Can you believe it? As in, this stuff is real. You're not just pretending to fly a plane, you are in the cockpit. You are dodging bullets and bombs and mountains and bridges. You are sweating. Well, not dodging much, because you'll be asked where you learned to fly quite a lot by the looks of it. And here, oh, Cybermorph. Yeah, that's Cybermorph. And then this one here, Dino Dudes. So this isn't 3D. Militant aliens, you can't live with them, you can't play without them. With brilliant sound, exceptional speed and shoot 'em up motion that showcases Jaguar's 64-bit capabilities. Raiden is the ultimate arcade conversion for 1 or 2 players. And this is how it looks. So it kind of, is it like a Smash TV style thing? I don't know. These are flying, so it's like a flying space shooter type deal. And that's one creepy skeleton. What game is this? Oh, the name is McFur, Trevor McFur. Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. How unusual. Get bit. Ah, Jaguar get bit. Okay, what's up here? Double switch. Hidden video clip. Oh, it's called name spells the name Laura, which is not so coincidentally the name of one of the characters in Double Switch. So it's one of these like live action sort of games. You get a hidden clip. We have Super Putty. Now, this, I think, the story behind this game was that it was due to release on the Amiga, and it wasn't. But it did get a release on the PS4 eventually, which was very unusual. Look, Fantastic Dizzy. See, there's Bubsy. That's another one of the like big open space style platformers I was talking about. Yeah, Night Trap. So this is just telling you where to look at the particular times. Because the idea is that there's a bunch of cameras that you can choose, so you've got to like time passes, I'm guessing, and then you click on a scene, and then you'll watch whatever's going on. But of course, everything else is going on behind the scenes at the same time. It tells you what happens by the looks of it. One of the girls finds out that those cherry popsicles in the fridge aren't cherry flavoured. Ick. Lynx kicks their butts. Alright, so you might think a thing, but so and so. I've seen this rating image before. Look, the Lynx has a 3.5 inch screen, but Game Gear has a 3.2 inch screen. Lynx has over 4,000 colours, but Game Boy has 2. I'm sure. Does Game Boy have 2? I thought it had like 4 or something. Like, it's not binary, it's not on or off. There are different shades. I do think there's 4 different shades you can have. And if they're saying that they've got kinds of different colours, they're just different shades, then saying Lynx has 400 wouldn't make sense. It is weird that they have them this way around. So Lynx allows up to 8 players, but Game Boy allows up to 4. You would think it'd be the other way around, wouldn't you? You think it'd be Game Boy but Lynx. Otherwise, it's come across as if to say well, you think this is bad, but our rivals are even worse. Also, Game Boy allows up to 4 players. I kind of remember there being a multi-link cable, but I thought that was a Game Boy Advance thing. Oh, more. This is more Sonic CD debug mode, where you can go around and place items around. See you next game, Sonic. And a car. A very strange image for a very strange game. And killer combos with a K, so it's Mortal Kombat, obviously. Oh. And Clay Fighter. Super passwords from Krusty's Funhouse. Level select from Lemmings. So is this just going to be passwords? Try this handy cheat to skip through the Game Gear version of Lemmings. You can start on any stage without the use of passwords. Oh, right, so not quite. First, turn the game on when you see the Lemmings pulling the Sega logo on a card. Hold buttons 1 and 2 while rotating the control pad in a clockwise direction. After about 3 rotations, you'll hear a boink sound to indicate the cheat is in place. Next, use new game at the main title screen instead of standard password entry menu. You'll see a credit screen with a stage select option at the bottom. Just press left and right on the controller to choose the starting stage. So, we're going to see a screenshot of that. I don't know. Oh, I remember that level. This was, I played it on the Amiga, and I remember this level here. I mean, it didn't look quite like this, but the thing was is that the lemmings fell into like tiny gaps, and so your job was to bash through one of the walls and get them out in the right direction. But because the gap is so small and they're constantly going back and forwards, you don't know if you're going to be hitting one that's facing left or facing right. So it's basically just like if you have to win a few coin flips, basically. But they also did change a few, like they had levels that repeated in visuals, but they changed in what resources you had and what the goal was, so it was effectively like a new level. Like there was the level which was Krusty is in The Simpsons Krusty. Oh right, okay. I didn't even notice. Right. So say there was like one level where you had like a bar like along the top and a bar along the bottom, and you had to get each individual lemming to dig their own little hole, because by the time they dug it, the gap was just a bit too much that the lemmings fell through and died. So you had to get every lemming to dig their own individual hole, which meant you had to like very meticulously like click each one of them. Yeah, look, Selma, Scratchy, Skinner, Groening. The Simpsons. The Empire Strikes Back. Part 3, the final chapter. The last installment of our strategy guide coverage is... right. I don't know much about Star Wars. Here are some cheats. I think I've seen this on an AVGN episode. We did a game of Star Wars games, and I recognise it by the jumping lightsaber animation. Oh, and there's some more. And Entertainment Central. So there's a few magazines. Yes, start my subscription as indicated below. If I subscribe to all 4 titles, I'll get an extra £4 discount. $4 discount off the already low prices. Okay, so that's about films. That's about rap. Rip. So this is like rock music, I guess. I mean, look at this guy here. Look, yeah, Pariah, Anthrax, Metallica, The Almighty, Guns N' Roses, Cannibal Corpse, Robert Plant, exclusive Motley Crue returns, Hot Rock, Hot Stars, and behind the scenes look at their creative genius. And then trading cards. A price guide for sports trading cards. But yeah, you did get this. So in case you're interested in all of these, you get a discount with the more that you're in, the more that you subscribe to. But can you imagine someone being like, "Oh, you know what I really fancy? I really fancy subscribing to a magazine about films, or rap, or trading cards, or rock music. I just fancy some of those." And it's like, "Oh wow, look what I've just so happened to stumble across." Oh, and more Star Wars cheats and passwords and stuff. I'm not going to look at that. I've got nothing to say about that. Ah, Cybermorph. Now this is sideways. So is this like... ah, this might be like the middle poster then. So you meant to stick this on the wall, so you can look at every so often. So in case you're playing Cybermorph and you need to know secrets and hidden items. Look, she is on 1, 2, 3 of the screenshots. Where did you learn to fly? Is this still... oh, this is a different game, this. Is it? Or is this... no, is this still Cybermorph? So does this fold out to like a 4-page spread? Maybe it does. Right. Oh, gonna have a drink. I think it's like a full-on walkthrough. I mean, obviously not too detailed, but for example, let's take a look at Ganlet. First, go to... I can barely read that. Go to Capital to get some things. Entering in code 1008 to get there, then type the code 3444 and select Central. Fly away. Yeah, it's just a guide just telling you how to get through the game. I keep reading Aranib as Airbnb. Mortal Kombat 2. Oh, got some secret moves for characters on Mortal Kombat 2. Right. Fan swipe. Back. High punch. Fan throw. Forward, forward. High punch and low punch. Simultaneously. This move can be done in mid-air. Yeah. Look. Blood. What's this doing? In a children's toy. I should get some politicians to look into this. Look. Got the head ripped off. Another head ripped off there. Blood going everywhere. And some other stuff. So there's going to be more characters, I guess. Yeah. Quadruple slam. Oh, Shang Tsung has quite a lot of stuff going on here. Don't know what's going on there. All there. Fatalities. Unknown. Question mark. Like, oh, either it's a secret or we just don't know. Anyway, look at this. Sonic 3. Hey, that's a pretty steep hill, ain't it? Sonic's new maneuvers help him get through the tough spots. Yeah, like grabbing onto a thing that pulls him up. Which, I mean, yeah, that's why it's like that. I was looking at the little loading thing there, like loading the page, and I was thinking, have they got some special effects going on? Sonic's like animated like his shield, and I was like, well, that makes no sense because this would be printed in paper. Sonic spins so fast Dr. Robotnik won't even know what's coming. Sonic attacks big bosses in yet another attempt to get Dr. Robotnik. More action than you ever imagined, eh? See, okay, this spelling, E-H, I've always read it as eh. But whenever I hear people say it, and they like, with the subtitle, or they mention it, they say A. But A, to me, is spelt A-Y. Like, say, the word say, or lay, or play, PlayStation. A, not eh, not E-H. Rings, rings, rings. You've still got to get those rings. Look, new levels for 2-player simultaneous action. And here it is. That all new 2-player simultaneous action. Okay, I know I mentioned before about them like refusing to repeat terms by like sliding other terms, but look at this. New levels for 2-player simultaneous action, and here it is, that all new 2-player simultaneous action. But that's not 2 players, that's 1 player. And I can't even see Tails. How silly. Is that a monkey or a gorilla hiding in those trees? I don't know about that. Daffy Duck. Duck Dodgers confronts that pesky Marvin the Martian once again in Daffy Duck for Game Boy. The confrontation between Duck Dodgers and Marvin the Martian spans 4 levels, from the surface of Mars to the Martian secret lab. So it's all on Mars then. That's the Martian. Presumably, the Martian secret lab would be on Mars. Okay. And these are the levels, I guess. Tasmania. The Tasmanian devil has escaped from the Acme Zoo, and he definitely doesn't want to go back. So he's looking for a new home whilst being chased by the zookeepers. On each island, Taz meets up with a new adventure. Alright. Easter Island, Christmas Island, Fancy Island, Dark Island, and Dodo Island. Lots of islands. The death of Superman. And over here, we have some very nice looking... Oh, what a weird character select screen. What game? SNK for the Neo Geo. Feature right on these early screenshots. The sequel, the classic art of fighting. So this is definitely going to be like an arcade game. But look at this. Look at this character selection screen. It's like it's like the Dynasty Warriors 2, Dynasty Warriors 3 character selection screen, which looks nice, but as a fighting game with 2 separate players, it looks so awkward. How look at these graphics. I bet this was popular in arcades when it came out. Time tracks. You've seen the TV show, right? No? Now play the video game. You're the cop of the future, Darian Lambert, who has travelled back in time to catch felons who've escaped from the 22nd century. So, you're from the future and you come back to 1994 or some present day. And you have to capture them. You're after Mordecai Samby, nice name, and his cronies because old Mordecai is using his tracks. Trans-time research and experimentation. Okay, I guess that worked out. Time machine to help criminals from 2193 travel to the past. Now, I'm thinking, didn't I watch a program where there was an episode or some story about some criminal traveling in time? It might be the Twilight Zone. Cause I've got, like, in my mind, I've got like an idea of like a Twilight Zone episode where someone travels back in time to catch a criminal or something. But I think it was the Twilight Zone. It might be. I forget what it was called. I watched through it in 2018. But there's one episode on... it was... I think it might have been season 2. Where there was a guy who was sentenced... It was a guy from the past who was sentenced to death. Sentenced to a hanging. And he teleported into the future, which is the present day of the Twilight Zone, so it would be in like 1960 or whatever. And he was like scared of the TV, and he was like shooting the TV, and he was scared of cars. And I can't remember anything else that happens. But that's it. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I do remember, like, for a while, the Twilight Zone made a big impression on me in the sense that I was able to remember every episode, like 150 odd episodes. But just recently I looked at like an episode list and I was thinking, like, what is that one? And I'd like re-jog my memory for some of them. But yeah, I don't remember what it was called. It was Death something. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. It's just like, cowboy up for death row got sent to the transported to the future, and now there's someone trying to catch him from the future or something. I don't know. Fatal Fury 2 fighting game. Look out! Terry and Andy Bogart and Joe Higashi have been invited to another King of the Fighters tournament. This time they've got new moves and a new motive. There are bonus stages too. So the bonus stage is like the Street Fighter destroy the car type things. And here we have Skitchin. So this is like a racing game on... I suppose it's like looks like a road rash type thing. Apart from you run roller skates and you looks like you've got like weapons and you like hit each other with weapons and stuff. You can even grab onto cars and bikes that go by. They'll get you to where you want a lot faster. But just make sure they don't run you over. Except it's pretty funny to watch these rollerbladers fall on their butts and roll around on the asphalt. And over here we have Citadel. Yeah, very early 3D. Very blocky. Very pre-PS1 3D. And The Pirates of Darkwater. An 8 meg car for both the SNES and Genesis, based on the Hanna-Barbera cartoon The Pirates of Darkwater. The platform game that provides you with swords, magic, daggers and martial arts savoir-faire. I'm not familiar with it. The Genesis version has the same sort of storyline, but it's a one-player fighting platform game. Oh, Mega Man X by the looks of it. I think this is X1, the original. It is. Difficulty medium. While every other major 8-bit game series long ago made the jump to 16-bit, Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, Castlevania, Contra, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, to name a bunch, poor old Mega Man has been languishing in the 8-bit world. At long last, Capcom brings Mega Man into the 16-bit realm with Mega Man X, and it's a very exceptional debut. Dr. Wily has been replaced with the evil Sigma. So this is telling you about the new system that they've got. So they rate this an 8. An 8 out of 10, I believe. The game is pure platform action with a twist. After you defeat each boss robot, you gain his weapon and you can use it against other bosses and enemies. Well, that's not a new twist for Mega Man. I mean, maybe it's a twist if you've not played Mega Man. You know, my first time I played Mega Man, I heard it, I saw it referenced online, but never played it. And I had eventually got a ROM of Mega Man 2, and I played it, and the first level I went on was Flashman, and I didn't understand what I was doing because I thought I was selecting a character. I chose a character, and it went, you know, do the da 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 da, and it showed me Flashman, and then I was Mega Man. I was thinking, what's going on? I thought I was Flashman. I was confused. And anyway, the editors all rate it a 9. But they rate it an 8, which is cool. So, from 1 to 10, it goes Pong, sucks, bad, poor, weak, okay, good, cool, great, and mega hit. And they think Mega Man X is cool. Graphics, sound, music, playability. Mega Man X is a little too easy. but it's also tremendous fun. I've always found Mega Man games to be very hard. Mega Man XXX After Hours. I've always found Mega Man games to be hard. And what's this game they're rating? One below Mega Man. Mega Man X. Choplifter 3. Certainly doesn't look anywhere near as good as Mega Man X. It really doesn't make sense that you can fire a blast of napalm at a building and leave the hostages unharmed while the guys with guns fall over and die. The power-ups are strangely conspicuous too. They fall from the sky on tiny parachutes right in the middle of a blazing war zone. Anyway, they rate it 7, and their editorial ratings are 8877. On this side, we have Super Chase HQ, runs down crime, Chase HQ. This font is a standard font that comes on Windows. Don't remember what it's called. Turbo acceleration, 5 different rounds, windshield screen view, and supernova. Look at this gradient on this logo here. 15 combat zones, 3 different endings, a war of wit and speed. And over the next page. Oh, I get that in my face. Turn and burn. No fly zone. I hate realistic flight simulators. I invariably crash because I am paying too much attention to shooting down the enemy, not enough to the instruments. Even more frustrating is successfully completing a mission and then failing to land properly. That just irks the crap out of me. Well, turn and burn no fly zone alleviates all these frustrations and is surprisingly easy to master. Plus the fun of blowing up the enemy is all there in its glory. Is there in all its glory. So they like it, and they've rated that a 9. So that's better than Mega Man X. And we have the Lost Vikings, and look. How intense is he? At long last, the space-faring trio of Eric the Swift, Balog the Fierce, and Olaf the Stout have arrived in the land of Sega Genesis with a jamming musical score and your help. With a jamming musical score and your help, our humorous heroes fight their way through over 40 rip-roaring levels and worlds. Hurry! Only you can get these lonely Vikes home. Now you can find them on Sega Genesis. Oh look, the other two are up here, upside down. Yeah, it's always like, oh, with 40 new levels and 27 weapons, take on 90 enemies. Orbitus. So this game is a 4. They don't like this one. This looks like a dungeon crawler. I love Everlock of the Dwarves, welcome you. So I'm guessing they're going to complain about it being slow or something. Let's have a look. In creating Orbitus, the designers of Psygnosis, creators of the game, must have started with a checklist of everything they would like to see in an action RPG. It's got it all. Mondo weapons, magic, slick, smooth scrolling, first-person movement, real-time combat, side-scrolling, stuff. Sounds like a hit, right? Not when all those great features are given the short end of the stick. Sure, you've got dozens of items, but you've also got an incredibly clumsy menuing system to use with them. Sure, you've got running and jumping areas, but each one is on a rapidly ticking timer that gives you no chance to explore. Sure. They like that word, don't they? Sure. There are dozens of characters, but no way to control how you interact with them. It's like, I like it's like all the things that they would want to say about a game positively, that they would say like, this game has 14 levels. For a bad review, they go, huh, sure, it has 14 levels, but what good is that if you can't even do this thing? There's only one save game slot, a major handicap in a game of this size. Yeah, they don't like that. And over here we have some beat 'em up game. Which one's this? And a character says no. Do they like it? The Peacekeepers, they think it's okay. Hack and slash your way to victory. You know what they say. You gotta fight for peace. And no game will be complete without all that witty dialogue between characters. More inexperienced video gaming types may find hours of enjoyment playing the Peacekeepers, but the more jaded among you may find it too similar to a number of other games and find precious little in that interests you. Nikos didn't like it. Oh, first thing I notice here is this head here, and that this game is a 9. The Lawnmower Man. Right, I'm going to take a drink. It really does some work on your voice doing this. Especially, like, this one's quite short, relatively speaking, but some of these have been like 3 hours. And it's like you have to keep talking the whole way. It's not like a stream or gameplay where you can stop every now and then. But I'm having to stop to take a drink. What even is this? Who would have thought that these guys could deliver one of the finest games of 1993? While it's not an exact duplicate, most of the original game's features are intact. The side view, run and shoot scenes are here, and the cyber tube of the driving sequences, a sideways spy hunter, the sequential puzzles, the digitized photo intermissions, the first-person virtual world stages, and more. Aside from the colour, the only thing I missed was the pair of floating hands in the virtual scenes. Otherwise, it's a stunner. Alright. I've never even heard of The Lawnmower Man. It sounds like a horror film. Like, have you heard of The Lawnmower Man? Legends say he was out mowing his lawn one day and then he was attacked. Excalibur. It can't be EX, it has to be an X. Because X's are cool. And, if you don't know, X is a cool letter which you might want to use for a social media. If you want to spend billions of dollars on a social media site with brand recognition, then you might want to buy it and destroy its brand recognition and use the letter X because it's a cool letter. Anyway, sort of like a, I don't know, it doesn't look like, I think that looks like a rocket, but this guy has a sword. Although I suppose I almost feel like the game is underwater, and while the boss type characters are challenging enough to hold your attention, they are one of the only bright spots in an otherwise fearless landscape. So they say 7 and 8, but the overall is 5. But they've got 2 things here at 6 and then 1 thing at 5. Maybe they just value that higher, I don't know. But their average ranking is like just below an 8, like just above a 7. Starfire. Let's have a quick look at these. This is a 9. So this is a great game. It may seem like a game where you just drive around and shoot things, but there's more to it than that. As you'll find out when you reach the deviously designed late levels, there's also plenty of challenge to be had, even on the easiest difficulty setting. Right, well, and here we have a Castlevania game, Bloodlines. This is the Mega Drive one, the Genesis, was it? Yes, Genesis 8. They like this. Imprecise jumping has always been my only real complaint about Castlevania, and it also applies to Bloodlines. I don't like feeling so out of control every time my character leaps into the air. I mean, it's not... Oh, God doesn't like it. The others do. They're getting 8. But that's higher than their average ratings. I don't understand how they determine that. It's confusing. But yeah, the jump, it's like it's on a set arc, isn't it? So, I mean, it's its own style, isn't it? Just got to account for it. Oh, Jim Power, I know that game. They rate it an 8. Is that the Genesis version? It is. Goofy's... Right, hold on. Right, Goofy's Hysterical History Tour. Yes, someone must have been hysterical when coming up with that name for this game. Am I right or am I right? Otherwise, nothing else really struck me as hysterical. But the way Goofy walks is cool. Well, if the way Goofy walks is cool, I imagine he takes big strides. A good game because Goofy's kind of cool, but Goofy doesn't come across to me as a cool character. Like, he seems very like Goofy's always like the kind-hearted dad who wants to... I mean, I might just be basing this off the Goofy movie, which I've not seen, by the way, but I'm familiar with. He's like the kind-hearted adult who like wants to do good, but he's not really like in with the trends, like, you know, like he's Goofy, he's got his own little style, like it's just his thing. Anyway, I had this game, difficulty hard, yeah. So I had this Jim Power on the Amiga, and on the Amiga there's music, the level 1 music is brilliant, but in the Mega Drive version, or Genesis version rather, they changed it up. Right. It's just a solid like run and gun. I mean, these screenshots make it out like it's a space shooter, but that was... I know that's the case for that boss there. But it's mostly like this here. It does look different. Like the Mega Drive version looks... I say Mega Drive, I don't think it was released in the UK. I mean, maybe, well, I suppose Japan, yeah, but... Jim Power is a good test of nerves, patience and timing, so play with focused concentration, no distractions. That is a good sum up of the game. There's lots of precise platforms. Like you run quite fast, but there's no like inertia to it or anything, and your jumps are very sudden. So, and things can sort of like jump out at you, but you just gotta be patient. Be patient and be careful. But they all like it, and they think it's cool. I think it's a cool game. Whoop. Let the games begin. Right. VideoGames attacks the 1994 Winter CES. So these are all the things on display. Look at that Mega Man. Is that a cosplay? Look at that Sonic. Look at that Sonic's eyes. Could have done a better job there. It's Beavis and Butthead. The Hulk. And a basketball player that I don't particularly know. So there's some cosplayers. Capcom's Mega Man X Bash at the newly christened MGM Grand Hotel got the show off to a great start, easily qualifying as this year's best CES party. Looks like an ice sculpture of Mega Man. Video games, what a name for a magazine. Just video games. Genesis CDX. So that's different to what it would eventually be. It would just be called the Sega CD. Or the Mega CD in the UK, I think. One of the best pieces of new hardware. New integrated portable Genesis and Sega CD. Be $399.99. Yeah, I don't know how expensive that would have been compared to other things, but I think it sold badly because, you know, new systems were just like around the corner. But look, it's Dizzy. A triple game, triple genre cartridge from the gang that brought you Micro Machines. Ah, the Codemasters multiple disc thing. There's a Quattro Adventure, I think, on the NES. And it's not like me. Look at that Sega logo in red. It looks strange. World Cup '94. Heimdall. The Incredible Hulk. Is that the game with the boss where you just punch it once and it falls off and dies? Even in the hours after the show, our restless editors couldn't stay away from the local arcades each night, where we'd invariably run into such worthy opponents as Namco's James Goddard, GamePro's Matt Taylor, and Jaleco's Joe Sislow. Or Sislow. Oh, and there's even more. There is even more. Do I know any of these games? Very briefly know Virtua Racer. Mortal Kombat, of course. Only Josie missed our drunken encounter with RJ. The poor girl spent most of the show in her hotel room with a 103 temperature. Our editors were astounded to find that you can't buy a freaking get well soon card anywhere in the MGM Grand Hotel. So I said that before she looked like she was ready for action, but I guess she wasn't. I think that was Josie. Yeah, and I don't really know any of those games. Sega's premium giveaway was extremely impressive. Our editors scored 3 different kinds of baseball cap, including a sharp-looking Tomcat Alley hat that had to be earned by playing the game at the show. Humidity is not exactly the order of the day in Las Vegas. Dehydration and static electricity left us rotted out long before we returned to Los Angeles on Sunday. Well, speaking of dehydration, I'm going to have another drink. And there's even more. I suppose it's divided up by console, isn't it? Speed Racer, Andy Lightfoot. You never heard of it. The Twisted Tales of Spiker McFang, never heard of it. But I've heard of Metroid. Among other interesting freebies, Sega's big balls of Sonic Lifesavers found their way into the mouths of our editors. Now, yesterday I saw someone share an image of Sonic Lifesavers being advertised, so maybe that's what it was a response to. I think, and someone commented that Lifesavers are basically what in the UK we'd call polos. I have, speaking of which, right, now you can't see it, but you listen to this, right? Right, I have a Tupperware box, a tub, full of spearmint polos. And I keep it under my desk. Oh, you've been eating the Sonic candy, eh? Say, eh? or A, as they would say that that spelling of two letters. And Atari. Oh, and Philips. Philips, like the Philips CDI. Caesar's World of Boxing, Space Ace. Touchpad. It's not really a game, is it? Similar to the controllers found on cartridge console systems, and even more so, the advanced graphics PC gamepad. This new controller is designed with speed in mind. The controller is better suited for action games and has a removable joystick that screws into the center of the directional pad. I don't think that would be built for speed. What, compared to the other ones? Has it got a faster response time? Worst booth demonstration, Nintendo stage show with a gang of grinning dancers prancing around while loudspeakers blared and rang, "The best player here, the best player here." Well, they're trying to make like a show of it. Anyway, what do we have here? Video Games announces the best games of 1993. Right. Link's Awakening. I completed that recently. I had Link's Awakening on back in the day, in the late 90s on my Game Boy. Didn't get to complete it. I managed to get as far as I think the face dungeon. And I got stuck. And I played it again on an emulator, which I actually had to look up how to get through that face dungeon, because it turns out one of the clues is very cryptic, and it's like, I would not have known. I would not have figured that out. Because it's about, if like do something in the eye or something, and it turns out that the eye means on the map, because the map makes a face or something. So best action game, Aladdin. So I got Aladdin on the Mega Drive for my birthday, for my 8th birthday. So that would be 1996. So it would have been a few years old at that point. I mean, when was PlayStation out? I don't know. But you know, as a kid, you're just sort of exposed to whatever you're exposed to. Oh, you did like quick reviews? So let's have a quick look. Dr. Bike's Mean Bean Machine. Yep, I would give that a good score. Less than unlikely. That's not considered a good game, is it? This action game based on a cowardice slouch-back nerd adds a bizarre but fun twist to an overused genre. Suppose it is unique. Right. Dr. Bike's Mean Bean Machine. Originally released as Puyo Puyo in Japan, this incredibly fun Tetris-like puzzle game was on that country's top 10 list for several months. Dr. Robotnik's shows that you can still have a good game without flashy graphics and without being a fighting game. So, I had Dr. Bike's Mean Bean Machine, and I actually figured out, like, oh yeah, you're meant to get, like, chain combos together. But no one else I played it with ever seemed to really grasp that, but I did. So I was better than all the people I knew. So as a kid, you see like, oh yeah, you're better than the people you know. So you think, oh well, I'm just really good at this game, and then you eventually go online and you get absolutely trounced because everyone vastly surpasses you. Family Feud, Ground Zero Texas, Pack Attack. So this puzzle type game. Dr. Franken. The Adventure of Dr. Franken. I've seen videos of that. Right. Is there anything they're going to put very bad? No. Beethoven Second. That's what a strange game. Solitaire? A simple and straightforward solitaire video game without too many bells and whistles. There are 12 versions of the game to choose from including Klondike, Pyramid, Aces Up, Scorpion, Golf and more. I'm not familiar with all the variations. Beethoven Second. There's not much to say about this game. It's a pure action game with a motion picture tie-in. The animation is pure, looking more like cardboard cutout than a video game. The most exciting thing about it is watching the dog get impaled on the picket fence. I mean, it looks like a pretty terrible game, but I mean, the scoring system, like 5 should be average. That's what I think. Everything's like so inflated. I mean, yes, subscribe. Let me subscribe to the magazine. Oh, one more. Mag Duck McGree. Ghostbusters. Shadowgate. Do I know Shadowgate? No. There's a game that has Shadow in the title that I think is sort of like an RPG. Shadow Runner? Or am I thinking I don't know what I'm thinking of. Shadow something. But it's not that. And Night Trap they think is weak. In any case, you might as well play it now before Congress decides to ban it. An adventure came out on the PS4 through limited run games. Look, Lawnmower Man. Movies meet multimedia. So yeah, it looks like a horror game thing. Alfred Chicken. This is definitely no game to cluck about. Though the soundtrack is pretty catchy, there are 11 trans-dimensional levels to traverse along with a myriad of baddies and moving platforms. Also, there is a definitive resemblance to Nintendo's Mario games. Premier issue, yes. Yes, sign me up. And save 63% of the cover price. Luna, the Silver Star. So this is an RPG, isn't it? Because I think previously I was mentioning this and I said I was confusing it with Alundra. Anyway, the way Luna doles out XP and Silver is a bit confusing. So here's the deal. For XP award, the game adds up the XP from all the monsters and divides it by the number of characters in the party. The number is then rounded down and awarded to each party member. For example, you defeat so-and-so, 5 XP, and that, yep, adds up to 12, divided by 3 characters, and they get 4. And for Silver, the game adds up the silver from all monsters you defeated and then awards you anywhere from 87.5 to 100% of the total. You defeated 3 ghosts and 1 elemental for a total of 110. You'll be awarded anywhere from 96 to 110. So it's like just a random range, isn't it? It's not that they divide it, it's just a random range. I mean, experience, I understand that because that just makes sense, I guess. Like dividing it up. Some things, games, I feel need to, like especially RPGs with experience and all that, is they need to think more sometimes about how they handle experience, because like in some games it's like, right, so you get experience based on like enemies give you X amount of experience and then each character just gets that much regardless of how many characters you've got in your party. So that means that having more characters in your party means you get more experience overall. And whereas if you divide it, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Like it doesn't make a difference you still get the overall same reward. But then some games will do that, and then they'll have it so that when you get a character later on, their level is based on the level of your main character or something like that. So if you decide to just go up with your main character, that will make that other character stronger. And so it messes around with the incentives once you know about it. keep going back to sound locations earlier in the game, even the ones you don't have anything to do, and talk to people. This is the only way to make sure you catch most of the dialogue in the game, which is usually extremely funny. If you donate money 10 times at any one of Arthena's shrines, the woman sings a little song for you. No big whoop. So this is about how to get through the different dungeons. Yeah. Sewer level. Good old classic sewer level. Sports wire. Jeopardy Sport Edition. NBA Jam. Golf. I could not care less. I could not care less. Oh look. More sports stuff. I could not care less. Is this still sports stuff? Global gaming. I mean, it's very green. And green is a very sports colour. But this doesn't look like it. The hero's greatest tactics. The earth is in danger from all the powerful villains that want to control the world. I know, the thing is, right, I know I'm meant to be looking at this, and whenever I see like a sports page and I just think, oh, I don't care, and I skip it, I feel like I'm sort of cheating, but at the same time, I sort of feel like I'm, you know, just like going over it, like skipping over, but at the same time, it's sort of like, well, I'm not going to have anything to say. Ninja Warriors again. Wario's the star of his very own video game. Does that mean that Wario's actually a good guy? No! In Mario Land 3, Wario discovers the treasure map and decides he wants to steal all of the riches. It doesn't mean he's going to work with the pirates. He decided to rip them off. Of course he did. You probably guessed by now. Wario's one nasty dude. Yeah. Soul and Sword. Oh, look at this RPG. 6 characters in a fight. Suffering from a great evil, and a hero from the Time Leagues must rise up again to purge the darkness from the land. It has 30 different scenarios, mini scenarios, that you can choose to play or not. Also, you can choose to quit it any time you feel like it. There are 10 different types of endings depending on which quest you have completed successfully. Yeah, so if I know my RPG user interface, this character here is a character that doesn't use magic, or whatever the game's equivalent of magic is. You don't get that these days, really, and I don't know how to feel about that, because I don't know. I like games to be expansive and give you lots of options, and so you can eventually like get really, really powerful if you put lots of work into it. But you don't see often, like these days, games where you will get characters that just do not get MP outright, where like some characters will, and then other characters will it's just not a part of their repertoire at all. You know, you'll still get games where it's like, oh, this character's like a warrior, so maybe they don't have as much. But I've not seen many where it's a case of, oh, they won't get any. Anyway, we've got some marketplace shopper, some adverts, Gameaholics, cash for your cartridges, Wolfenstein 3D, a virtual nightmare, more of everything, more weapons, more fun, more mayhem, and that's the end of it. And we end with an NBA Jam basketball coming to Super Nintendo, Genesis and Game Gear on March the 4th. Okay then. Well, that was a bit of a blast from the past. I think is this the first one I've done from 1994, or have I done something earlier than this? I'm not quite sure. I know I've done a few like early ones, but I've not done, I mean, I think I've done a few from like 96, but I don't think I've done one from 94. I could be wrong there. I'll have to have a look. Anyway, thank you for watching. I've been doing a lot of these, and I'm probably going to slow down because I've been off work for a week, so it's giving me lots of time. But it takes a lot out of me to do this, especially if I'm going for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes up to 3 hours. It takes a lot out of me. So I'm going to say thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.